My name isn't important. Not because I don't have one, but because if I say it out loud, if I attach it to what I'm about to confess, someone will eventually find me. And that someone won't be human. They'll be like me, a werewolf. One of the thousands of us quietly living our lives in office cubicles, grocery store aisles, and little apartments with barking dogs and neighbors who cook too much garlic. Yes, garlic bothers us, but not for the reasons you think. Tonight I'm writing this because I'm tired. Not in the normal way. I'm exhausted in the way someone gets when they've been pretending for so long that the performance becomes heavier than the truth. I've lived 34 years on this earth, and all but the first 12 have been one long lie. And only recently have I begun to wonder what it might feel like to tell the truth, even if I have to hide behind anonymity to do it. I work in project management. I have a 9 to 5 schedule, 2 monitors on my desk, a mouse pad with a stupid inspirational quote, and coworkers who think I'm quiet because I'm introverted. The reality is less romantic. I'm quiet because I can hear everything. When the world believes monsters hide in forests and shadows, it never suspects the man refilling the office printer toner. I guess this is my attempt to trace the full shape of my life, the human half and the half I keep caged. I don't expect sympathy. I don't need understanding. But there's a strange relief in telling a story I've locked inside me for decades. If you're reading this, consider it a window into a life you didn't know existed. My life, my truth, my curse or gift, depending on the day. Whatever you choose to call it, I'm about to tell you everything. The first time I changed wasn't under a full moon. People love that idea. That perfect silver coin in the sky, triggering a transformation like some cosmic switch. But that's just a dramatic exaggeration. The moon doesn't force the change, it amplifies it, magnifies it. The real trigger is emotion, and I was 12. Fear is a powerful motivator. I grew up in a stale little town in Pennsylvania, the kind of place where the loudest thing for miles is the train that passes twice a day. My parents knew what I was from birth, though they tried to pretend nothing was unusual. They whispered a lot, watched me more closely than they watched my siblings. They checked in too often. How are you feeling, sweetheart? Any headaches? Any strange dreams? I thought they were being overprotective. Turns out they were waiting, bracing for the moment they knew would come. And when it did, it wasn't beautiful or cinematic or primal. It was horrifying. A group of older kids cornered me after school, nothing unusual. Bullies love an easy target. I was small, scrawny, and carried sketchbooks everywhere. The perfect punchline for boys who thought cruelty was a personality trait. They pushed me, harder than usual. My head hit a metal locker. I tasted blood. I remember heat blooming in my chest. My vision blurred at the edges. My teeth ached. My bones felt wrong, like they were growing too fast for my skin. Then I heard a sound, a low, guttural growl, and it took me several long seconds to realize it came from my own throat. When it happened, I didn't black out. I was aware of everything. My skin stretched, my nails split and reformed, my jaw cracked. My consciousness shrank into something feral, terrified, and instinctive. I didn't kill anyone, but I scared them so badly that 2 of them moved schools the next year and never looked me in the eye again. And my parents, and instead of panicking, just nodded, like they'd been expecting it all along. That was the day they told me the truth. We're not human, sweetheart. Not entirely. They kept the details vague. Parents love to protect their children from realities they're sure are too heavy. But I wasn't a child anymore. Not after that day. I was something else. Imagine being 15, hormonal, insecure, desperate to fit in, and also capable of snapping your desk in half if your heart rate spikes. It's a miracle I survived high school. Other kids were learning how to flirt, how to drive, how to apply to colleges. I was learning how to keep my senses turned down, how to control my breathing when I smelled fear, how to avoid angry outbursts, how to prevent eye shine in photos, how to eat like a human and not like a starving wolf. You learn little tricks. Chewing gum calms the jaw. Wearing sunglasses hides flashes of amber in your eyes. Hoodies help conceal back and shoulder tension during pre-shift cycles. My parents taught me coping mechanisms instead of magic rituals. You might be disappointed by that, but the truth about us is far more biological than mystical. It's a condition, not a curse. A genetic variation. A family inheritance. A quiet lineage threaded through generations of people who learned to live unnoticed. When people imagine werewolves, they picture towering creatures drenched in moonlight, snarling and killing indiscriminately. But in reality, most of us spend our lives avoiding harm, avoiding attention, avoiding anything that causes suspicion. We practice control relentlessly, because to lose control, even once, is to risk everything. My first job was at a diner. Greasy floors, endless coffee, the constant sizzle of bacon. It was hell. Did you know humans smell like dozens of different things at once? You don't. You're used to yourselves. But to someone like me, every scent is a paragraph of information. Stress hormones. Illness, emotion chemical. Traces what someone ate who they touched. Whether they slept at 16, I could tell when a customer was about to get sick. Sometimes hours before they felt symptoms. I could detect lies the way you detect a change in tone. I could smell anger building before anyone raised their voice. My parents were proud. I was miserable. I couldn't stop listening, couldn't stop smelling, couldn't turn off the instincts urging me to react. Humans don't realize how often they act like prey, even without meaning to. But I needed the money. I needed some sense of normalcy. And my parents told me that learning to blend in early would save me later. They were right. I learned never to lift heavy things in front of people. Never to sprint, even if I could reach a customer before they hit the floor. Never to shout, because my voice changes timbre when I'm emotional. Never to stare too long, because my eyes give me away. Humans notice more than they admit to themselves, but they rationalize even more. If something seems impossible, they just dismiss it. And that's how we survive. I left home at 18. Not because I hated my family and I loved them fiercely, but because I needed space to figure out who I was outside of their protection. Being a werewolf in your childhood home feels like living in a carefully padded room. Safe, sure, but suffocating. I moved to the city, a place so full of noise that even my hearing struggled to keep up at first. I rented a small studio apartment and got a desk job at a small logistics company. That job lasted exactly 6 months, not because I messed up, but because working in a room with 15 people all sweating, talking, whispering, fidgeting, lying, and daydreaming simultaneously is like being trapped in a blender of sensory overload. I quit before I broke, then I drifted for a while. Part-time work, short contracts, a few sleepless nights in which I wondered whether a normal life was even possible. But eventually, I found it. A job with structure, predictability, quiet, project management. The place no one wants to work, except people like me. I wake up at 5:40 a.m. without an alarm. My body prefers dawn, that liminal space between dark and light. I stretch slowly, not because it feels good, though it does, but because it helps me regulate my bones. If I stretch too hard, my joints shift in ways they shouldn't while I'm fully human. I shower longer than humans do. Hot water calms the muscles and cold water resets my senses. I use unscented soaps because scented ones confuse my nose for hours. Breakfast is predictable. Eggs, toast, sometimes meat. Werewolves need protein the way humans need coffee. I dress in soft fabrics because rough ones irritate my skin when my senses are heightened. I wear loose layers to disguise tension in my shoulders. Then I walk to work. Walking is the easiest part of my day. The city is chaotic, yes, but chaos has patterns. I can avoid people by listening to footsteps and reading their direction. I can tell which intersections are safe by measuring traffic rhythms. I can smell danger before it appears. But once I reach the office, I become someone else entirely. A quiet coworker, a focused manager, the person who remembers everyone's schedules, moods, and deadlines. No one suspects anything, because why would they? I drink coffee even though it tastes terrible to me. Humans bond over coffee. Not drinking it would be suspicious. I nod in meetings, take notes, send emails, and laugh politely at jokes that don't land. I attend birthday celebrations quietly. I avoid potlucks. I pretend I don't hate fluorescent lights. I stick to routines so rigid that any HR department would applaud my consistency. And every single day is a balancing act. Don't perk up at sudden sounds. Don't flinch when someone drops a binder. Don't react to fear vibrations from anxious coworkers. Don't let your canines sharpen when stressed. Don't breathe too deeply when someone is lying. Don't let your eyes flash when your heart rate spikes. Don't look too aware. Don't look too fast. Don't look too strong. Humans don't notice the little things, right? But werewolves can't afford to take chance. Every second I'm awake, I am pretending. Let me tell you about the people I work with. Megan, who chews peppermint gum constantly. She claims it helps her focus, but she's lying. She chews it because she's anxious, and peppermint covers the scent of worry better than lavender. Aaron, who sits 2 cubicles down and eats the same tuna sandwich every day. My nose hates him. But he's a good guy. He has a steady heart rhythm, gentle posture, and a calm scent. He'll make a great father someday. Thomas, our team lead. Sharp voice, heavy footsteps, wears too much deodorant. His stress hovers around him like a fog. The man is drowning and doesn't even know it. And then there's Clara. She almost figured me out. Clara is observant in the way most humans aren't. She notices things, small things. She watches people with quiet curiosity. She makes connections others miss. She's the type of human who should have been born a wolf. For months, she kept staring at me, not in a romantic way, in a puzzled, analytical way, like she was trying to figure out a puzzle piece that didn't fit. One day, she said, "You always know when someone's behind you. Every single time." I shrugged. Good hearing. I notice stuff. "You notice everything," she said. I felt my spine stiffen. My instincts prickled like static. People aren't supposed to notice that I notice. Then she added, "It's like you're hyper-aware." That was the closest anyone had come in years to sniffing out the truth. I forced a laugh. You learn to fake things when your safety depends on it. But Clara didn't stop watching. Not out of fear, out of fascination. She wasn't scared of me, she was curious. And curiosity is dangerous. Humans don't become threats by accident. They become threats by asking the wrong questions. I started avoiding her, taking alternate routes to my desk, leaving rooms before she entered, answering her questions with shorter sentences. And slowly, she stopped looking at me with that searching expression. Her curiosity faded. Humans forget quickly when you give them nothing to latch onto. But for months afterward, I wondered how close she'd come to uncovering me. Too close. Transformation under a full moon is not involuntary. Not exactly, but resisting it is like trying to resist vomiting. Possible, but painful and rarely sustainable. If you force your body to stay human for too long during a full moon cycle, it starts to retaliate. Nausea, fevers, jaw tension. Migraines so sharp you feel them in your teeth. I take PTO during full moons. Always have. My boss thinks I get seasonal migraines. My coworkers joke that I'm allergic to Mondays. But the truth is simpler. If I stayed in that office, under those lights, surrounded by those people, breathing in that recycled air, During a full moon cycle, I would lose control. Not violently, not destructively, just biologically, I would shift. And once I shift, I can't shift back until the moon's pull weakens. I destroy everything around me, not by intent, by size alone. So I take the days off. I isolate. I let the wolf inside me breathe, stretch, exist. I run through the woods on the edge of the city. Not too far, not too fast. Because even shifted, I'm careful. I can't be seen. I won't be seen. Freedom must never come at the cost of exposure. People always assume werewolves have wild, passionate love lives. Wrong. We avoid relationships more often than we pursue them, because relationships require honesty, vulnerability, exposure, and we can't risk that. I've dated humans before. Briefly, carefully. Each time ended in distance and excuses. You're hiding something. You're not letting me in. You're afraid of intimacy. They were right, just for the wrong reasons. I'm not afraid of intimacy. I crave it more deeply than they could understand. Wolves are social creatures, affectionate, loyal, pack-driven, but humans are fragile, too fragile. And if I let myself get too attached, too close, too comfortable, I might slip. One wrong reaction, one moment of passion, 1 second of losing control. I would never forgive myself. So I stay alone. Better lonely than dangerous. It was a Thursday, not a full moon, not even close. A normal day by most standards, except I'd slept poorly, and when werewolves don't sleep well, our control weakens. I got to work late, already irritated by the smell of burnt coffee in the break room. People were tense. 3 deadlines looming, one coworker crying quietly, someone microwaving fish. And then the fire alarm went off. The sound hit me like a spear through the skull. It sliced into my ears so violently that I dropped to my knees. My vision blurred. My heart raced. My teeth ached. The wolf surged. I felt claws pushing at my fingertips. Felt my jaw tightening, bones shifting subtly beneath the skin. Felt my breath coming out in low, guttural growls I couldn't suppress. People rushed past me toward the exit. Some shouted, some laughed, some swore. No one looked closely enough at me. Except Clara. She crouched next to me and grabbed my shoulder. "Hey, are you okay?" Her touch should have soothed me. Instead, it triggered the wolf harder. Clara froze. My eyes had changed. I could feel it. I could see her reflection in them. Wide, startled, not understanding, but definitely, unmistakably afraid. I jerked away from her and ran. Not fast, not wolf fast, but fast enough that it raised eyebrows. I locked myself in the maintenance closet and forced myself to breathe. Forced back the shift. Forced down the instinct screaming for release. It took 11 minutes for my eyes to return to their normal color. 11 minutes for the wolf to quiet. 11 minutes for me to become human again. When I returned to the group outside, Clara was still staring at me. But she said nothing, and I thanked every ancestor who'd ever survived in silence for giving humans the gift of denial. Clara assumed she'd imagined it. Humans always assume that. I'm not confessing because I want fame or pity or validation. I'm confessing because living like this, half in shadow, half in light, has worn me down to bone and nerve. And recently I've wondered something I never let myself wonder before. What would happen if humans knew? Not in movies, not in myths, not in conspiracies, but knew the real truth. That the man next to them on the bus might hear their heartbeat. That the woman in accounting might smell their fear. That someone they love might be hiding fangs behind gentle smiles. That the world is bigger and stranger than science likes to admit. Would humans panic? Probably. Would some accept us? Maybe. Would most pretend we don't exist even if we told them? Definitely. Humans don't react to the truth. They react to the version of the truth they can understand. And they can't understand us. Not yet. But maybe someday. I dream of a world where I don't have to take PTO to survive my biology, where I can tell someone I love who I am without them flinching, where the wolf in me is not a threat but a companion, where my senses are a gift, not a secret, where I can exist mighty fully, wholly, without apologizing for the shape of my bones. I don't know if that world will ever arrive, but telling you this, writing it down, is the closest I've ever come to stepping out of the shadows. You've met one of us, I'm almost certain of it. The coworker who flinches at loud sounds, the friend who disappears during full moons, the quiet neighbor who avoids confrontation, the person who always knows when you're upset, the man who lifts something impossibly heavy but shrugs it off as leverage, the woman who walks silently even in boots, the cashier who stares too long as if reading something you can't see, the teacher who can smell fear during tests, the nurse who senses infection before the symptoms arrive, the partner who holds you too tightly, then apologizes without knowing why. We're everywhere. In offices, in hospitals, in schools, in grocery stores, in every city, in every town. Living small lives, living quiet lives, living human lives, or trying to. We are not monsters. We are not killers. We are not what the movies made us. We are simply people. People with instincts carved into our DNA. People with a second heartbeat inside us. People who fight every day to fit into a world not built for us. And if you ever meet someone who seems a little too aware, a little too perceptive, a little too controlled, maybe don't assume they're strange. Maybe don't assume they're aloof. Maybe don't assume they're shy or cold or distant. Maybe they're just tired of pretending. Maybe they're like me, a werewolf with a 9-to-5 job, hoping quietly that someday the world will understand. Until then, we hide, we survive, we adapt, we blend, and we watch you. Not out of hunger, not out of danger, but out of longing. Longing for a day when we no longer have to lie. If you're still here, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel.